This is the American Athletic Conference on ESPN+. Good evening, everyone. I'm Pat Strathman, and greetings from X Stadium, home to Wichita State. The Big Red from the Big Ten are here in Wichita for a two-game midweek series. Nebraska is coming off a series win against South Alabama. Meanwhile, Wichita State beat Long Beach State right here at X Stadium. A look at our starting lineup. First for the visitors from the Big Ten, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, our Patterson Legal Group starting lineup. That guy at the very top, Rhett Stokes, has been on fire. 9 for 12 in the previous series versus South Alabama. He will be a tough out, to say the least, for Nebraska. Meanwhile, for Wichita State, on the bump today, brought to you by Reese Nichols, it is Brady Hamilton, who is set to make the start. Last time out, only surrendered a hit, one run, had one strikeout. Just one of the many young faces on this new team being led by a new coach and head coach Brian Green. Backing him up on the field at X Stadium. A quick snapshot. David Johnson in straightaway center. Lots of new faces for Wichita State. One of the faces that you might recall from last season's team is Mauricio Millan, who is behind the dish once again for Wichita State. This is the 51st meeting in the series featuring Nebraska and Wichita State. Nebraska holds the slight advantage. 26 wins for Nebraska, 24 for Wichita State. Last time these two teams met was back in 2018. Shockers took 2 of 3 back then. They would certainly love to sweep the midweek series here in 2024. Lots of excitement in the air for Brian Green and his bunch. Tyler Stone has hits in each of his last 9 starts, going 14 for 37 over that stretch. 3 doubles, 3 homers, and 13 RBI. Runner goes here. Stone drives one to center field, and it's out of the park. Tyler Stone drives in, runs 1 and 2 for the Cornhuskers. His 4th home run puts Nebraska ahead at 2-1. Well, and even if he were to complete this inning, would not be a career high for him. He did have 9 innings pitched last year against Michigan State. Here's a shot to left field, and that is a no-doubter for Jordan Rogers. Rogers going yard for the 4th time this season. And Wichita State showing a little bit of life here in the 6th frame, trailing 7-3. And now would be a good time for Josh Livingston to get that first hit here for the day. And he goes right side, and he shoots it through. Wichita State with its 5th run. And stopping at third is Callahan. Josh Livingston, his first hit, cuts the deficit to 3 for the Shockers. Wichita State set to bring this lineup to the plate. Of course, we'll see the first 3, but we'll see about the others. Camden Johnson. We mentioned Rhett Stokes being the guy for Nebraska. Camden Johnson at the top of the lineup on a tear, nearing 400 for his batting average here for 2024. That's a look at the starting line. That's brought to you by Patterson Legal Group. On the hill for Nebraska, it is Will Walsh who gets the start today. 12 innings so far this year. 8 Ks to 1 walk. Not bad for Will Walsh. The opponent's batting average, though, at 360, so that'll be something to monitor. That's brought to you by Reese Nichols. For the defense, for the Cornhuskers, Riley Silva, Anglem, and Evans all in the outfield. We saw a mistake at shortstop for Wichita State. The thing for Nebraska has been dealing with an injury at second base and third base. They've been trying to fill those holes so far here for 2024. The lefty gets the party started, misses off the plate for a called ball. Camden Johnson, a true freshman. Seeing the second pitch, both called balls. Camden Johnson, .397 batting average, 23 hits, 12 RBI. He's been dialed in, and Will Walsh wasting no time. However, all three pitches away from the plate. Not a 4-pitch walk, as Walsh is able to get that one in there. Coming from Texas, born Texas, two-time All-District honoree at shortstop, named to the Texas All-State Elite Team. He wrapped up the series with Long Beach State with 4 RBI. Full count pitch. And it grazed Johnson. And apparently that one really drilled Johnson in the sweet spot. Yeah, right on the hand near the wrist. Those never feel good. Now, I don't know if I can share that experience. Not like I took many of those at the wrist. I stopped playing baseball once I got to high school. But something tells me if you take 80 to the wrist, that's probably not going to be too much fun. But it looks like Johnson's going to be okay. He's going to stay on for Wichita State. So the Shockers have their leadoff guy on, allowing Mauricio Millan to step in the batter's box with a runner on. Takes this one for a ball. Millan with a .306 batting average. 15 hits for him. RBI total-wise, just sitting at 3 so far this year. And he gets plunked by Will Walsh. Well, not exactly ideal for Nebraska's hurler, Will Walsh, who starts things off by hitting 2 Wichita State batters. This one a little bit lower than the wrist, but I don't think a knee's a better spot. And Nebraska going to halt things here with a meeting on the mound. Can't say I blame Nebraska for an early mound visit. Wichita State with a new look roster this year. Only 11 players returning from the 2023 club. The AAC Player of the Year, Brock Rodden, was drafted in the 5th round by the Seattle Mariners. Sawyer Thornhill exhausted his eligibility. The remaining 23 players transferred. 17 of those ended up at another D1 institution. Millan, who's on the bags at first base, was one of the main guys to play last year. Seth Stroh appeared at a few games, started 32. Jordan Rogers made 10 starts. Will Stark had 10 starts in 2022. Caden Favors came back, and boy, has he looked like a stud for Wichita State. And now after the meeting, we're ready to resume. And Will Walsh drops it in there for a called strike. Derek Williams, .326 batting average for him this year. Has 11 RBI, can make it 12 if he can find a sweet spot. Instead, could be a double play ball. There's one at second, but not enough to get the second one at first. So Millan is out at second. Camden Johnson's over at third, and Derek Williams reaches on a fielder's choice. That could have been problematic. Huft was able to make the play to find Carey at second base. But probably a wise decision to try and not force the issue there from Carey at shortstop. And Wichita State has a runner that much closer to home. Damon Johnson watches the first pitch for a called ball. .327 batting average for the senior. Transferring in from Crowder College. 2-0 count in his favor. Is a Kansas native. Started at Gardner Edgerton High School. Always like seeing the in-state kids stick around or at least come back. 2-0 up the middle, and he finds a sweet spot to drive in the first run of the game. The former trailblazer of Gardner Edgerton High School, Damon Johnson, comes through. Wichita State grabs a 1-0 lead. And the way that it was placed there for Nebraska's defense, you almost felt like you had Carey in the right spot, but with the second baseman being over a little bit, that allowed Johnson to slide it on through. So Wichita State with a 1-0 advantage. Williams over at third base. Johnson now at first. Jordan Rogers getting his turn at the plate. Been a slow start at the dish for him so far. A 1-0 count. As that one misses a little bit too high. Just a 195 batting average for Jordan Rogers. 8 hits and 41 at-bats. But when he has logged a hit, out of the 8, half of them resulting in extra bases. 1 was a double and 3 being long balls. And Walsh on the hill staring at a 3-0 count in favor of Rogers. One of those 3 homers came in Game 2 against Long Beach State. He had the green light on the 3-0, and he lifts this one foul out of play. Well, Rogers was one of those guys to come back from last season's club. He played in 34 games, only made 10 starts, really was a defensive replacement in left field. Didn't commit an error all last season. Had several highlight reel catches. Only batted 102 though, and things have doubled at least this year so far. But you know, Brian Green is looking for a little bit more production out of him. Back in 2022, he actually hit .307. Had 43 hits there for Wichita State. Still trying to get in a groove here this season. The 3-1 coming in as Englum has the catch. No tag and run for Wichita State. And there's the second out in the inning for Nebraska. There was a chance where you could have saw a tag and run for Derek Williams. Wichita State didn't want to take the risk. And had it happened, the throw was well off the plate, but hindsight's always 20/20 would do something like that. So Ryan Callahan now takes his spot. Nice lefty-lefty matchup. And Walsh snaps it in there for a called strike. Callahan with a .333 average this year. Has logged 17 hits to this point. 1-1 as this one's upstairs. Callahan in his first season after a transfer from Johnson County Community College fouls this one off. Out of high school, he went to Kansas, appeared in 30 games for the Jayhawks. After starring at Blue Valley Northwest, was ranked the number 4 player in Kansas by Prep Baseball Report back then. And then after going to Johnson County Community College, finds a home here. Was first team All-Kansas Jayhawk a season ago, slash 425, 537, and 597. Shoots this one the right, but Nebraska plays it perfectly on the defensive alignment. And Nebraska ends the inning, but Wichita State leads 1-0 after one.